Censored beeps in this video are classified names or locations that are withheld from public hearing and are therefore edited for legal reasons from the SCP agency. In association with the SCP website, Secure, Contain, Protect.
This video contains unsettling content and is not suitable for viewers who suffer from arachnophobia. Viewer discretion advised.
This video contains disturbing content, flashing lights, and sudden loud noises. Pathetic insect discretion advised.
The SCP Foundation is a secret organization of scientists who are devoted to collecting and containing all supernatural objects and creatures in the world for the sake of protecting the rest of mankind from them. SCP stands for Special Containment Procedures and their unofficial motto, Secure, Contain, Protect. Items contained by SCP are classified as one of the following: Safe, Euclid, and Keter. Most Keter items also pose an enormous threat to humanity.
The Foundation often uses D-Class personnel to handle and experiment extremely hazardous objects and anomalies. These people tend to be prison inmates convicted of violent crimes, especially those on death row. In this case, the category we are documenting is the top 15 robot SCPs. SCP-658, Object Class, Euclid. Each instance of SCP-658 is an autonomous robotic device. Size and weight varies widely. Specimens as small as 5 mm or as large as meters have been observed. The bottom half of each specimen contains 4 spider-like, highly flexible legs and a single eye. Appearance and structure of upper half is different in every SCP-658. SCP-658 remain active at all times, despite appearing to lack any power source. While behavior varies between instances, when otherwise unoccupied, most tend to explore their surroundings. SCP-658 are capable of running at varying speeds, climbing up even flat vertical walls, and swimming. SCP-658 are capable of reproduction, achieved through impregnating other machines. Machine, in this case, is essentially defined as any complex man-made mechanism. This includes items as disparate as wristwatches, typewriters, personal computers, motor vehicles, and though rarely, other SCP-658. Impregnation is carried out via a poorly understood process that requires only momentary physical contact. As a result of the process, an embryo will appear inside the machine, hereafter referred to as host. The embryo initially appears to be a featureless lump of plastic and metal measuring 1 mm, but develops and grows quickly within its host. As an embryo expands, it connects and incorporates increasingly more of its host's internal mechanisms into its own structure. The embryo partially takes on the task of maintaining the functions of its host, whose users usually fail to notice anything is amiss, and believe that the host machine is working no less effectively than usual. However, visibly minor glitches and anomalies, as well as external deformation, tend to appear towards the end of the gestation. The embryo will also break down some of the host machine's internal components, both for the purpose of constructing its own body and for weakening the host structural integrity in preparation for birth. At the end of the gestation cycle, the embryo, now developed into a mature SCP-658, exits its host by ripping it apart. The new SCP-658 immediately assumes the behavior typical for other SCP-658 instances. Size, form, and behavior of the new SCP-658 depend on the host machine. Any small instance of SCP-658, when not involved in experimentation, is stored alone within a steel box, preferably kept closed via simple low-tech means, such as tying with strings or duct tape, or weighing down the lid. Boxes with external mechanisms or electronic locks are avoided for this purpose. Boxes with mechanisms accessible from the inside must not be used. Larger instances of SCP-658 are destroyed as soon as possible, unless exposure is necessary for sake of experimentation. Every instance of SCP-658 is kept at least 3 meters from all electronic devices, as well as all notably complex mechanical machinery. Devices affected by SCP-658, when not used for experimentation, are destroyed. Machinery affected by SCP-658 must not be connected to an electrical outlet for any amount of time.
SCP-3014. Object Class, Euclid. SCP-3014 is a sapient hexapod robotic construct of unknown origin. The entity possesses a rear antenna of a design beyond current understanding. It appears similar to human designs, however, near the tip of the antenna is a large crystal of unknown composition that seems to be fractured in half. Sampling proves the crystal structure to be similar to that of diamond. According to the SCP-3014, it is broken and previously could broadcast information faster than light, but this has not been confirmed. Analysis of replications of the antenna for Foundation use is being considered. The frontmost segment of SCP-3014 is considered the head of the entity. Sticking out of the head is a small square screen. The entity uses this to communicate. Due to extreme length and density of the material, sampling the internal imaging is proven difficult. The tests that have been performed show similarities to carbon nanotubes, although of much more advanced design. SCP-3014 appears to take in information that is in form of wireless internet networking. The entity requires roughly 500 megabytes of data per 24 hours to preserve normal function. The information that SCP-3014 consumes is memorized and permanently stored. It has learned from internet access, human language, and grammar to a high degree. However, the entity prefers to type in short, incomplete sentences because, according to the entity, it is more comfortable to speak as since it is similar to the original language. Upon consumption of data, there is an estimate 56% chance that the data gains temporary antimemetic properties. SCP-3014 claims it is digestion problems. The majority of sapient beings who knows the content begin to forget it and suffer extreme difficulty trying to remember the data if shown again. In rare cases, digitally stored version of this content will be completely deleted. This effect will last any time from 16 hours to a few months. In emergency situations, SCP-3014 can consume stored content. SCP-3014 claims that data that reveals more important or interesting information is more tasty, and that uninteresting data is bland and tasteless. SCP-3014 refuses to consume data that is a repeat of previous information or very similar to previous information, claiming it to be disgusting. If SCP-3014 does not receive its required information, it may begin to attempt to forcefully consume information, breaking through information firewalls with relative ease. When this occurs, the rate of anememic events increases to 90%, as well as the duration appearing infinite. If the entity has not been fed for an extended amount of time, information that SCP-3014 has consumed may begin to reappear. However, this information will still be anememic. SCP-3014 is stored in containment cell at Site-15. It is given access to controlled Wi-Fi content for 3 hours a day. At least 4 Level 4 Foundation IT specialists control the exact contents of the data packets sent to SCP-3014. Any information packets being sent to it are analyzed for any information that is important and it could cause issues if lost. Every week, SCP-3014 is interviewed to regain potential lost information. Stories do not contain any important information related to science, history, culture, or any other well-known concept in case an antimemetic event occurs. At least 2 guards armed with light explosive weaponry remain near SCP-3014 and its cell at all times. Personnel are not allowed to communicate with SCP-3014 unless given permission by the current lead researcher on duty. SCP-3014 is given a psychological evaluation by the current lead researcher, and any request for extra equipment capable of sending and receiving signals is denied without review. SCP-3014 was recovered after several hundred residents of the United Kingdom reported weak internet connection in their local area. When civilian internet service providers investigated, they discovered SCP-3014. Foundation agents in the area took over and discovered it was attempting to construct a form of communication array but was lacking the needed tools and parts. The entity was forcefully contained. Damage and internet outages were later blamed on a severe storm, and anesthetics were properly distributed.
Greetings, SCP-3014. How are you feeling? And why is that? Who are your friends? This is the first time you've divulged this information to us, SCP-3014. What could it be?
SCP-278. Object Class: Safe. SCP-278 is a large mechanical robot made of steel, iron, and banyan wood, strongly resembling an arachnid. The average length of SCP-278 is about 54 feet from the abdomen to the tip of the furthest leg, and the highest part of the main body sits about 27 feet off the ground. A control panel of levers and pedals are positioned on it. Though SCP-278 lacks any electronics, CPU, or wiring beyond the presence of a few dozen car batteries, the complex motions of multipedal locomotion are fully automated through a complex network of looping tethers, compound pulleys, belts, and hydraulic pistons. The oldest functioning component of SCP-278 is a type of processing transmission relying on multiple rotating perforated drums and coils, providing different instructional input for commands of motion. A human operator working the controls essentially shifts gears to readjust the configuration and position of the control drums and coils, which guide the rhythm of motion to the legs essential for moving SCP-278. Those personnel at its control report that the ease of piloting SCP-278 appears inconsistently simple in comparison to the complexity of the mechanisms involved and the lack of any electronic guidance. Though the finer details that control SCP-278 are not fully understood, researchers are perplexed by the autonomy SCP-278 displays when no human input is presented. It is not known how SCP-278 is capable of moving and performing complex tasks on its own without an operator, the most impressive of which is the construction of an elaborate web made from nylon tether similar to bungee cord, with high tensile strength. Without any input into its controls, SCP-278 constructs its web in any dimly lit, large open area, preferring high 90-degree tricorner roosts spanning 300 cubic meters. On the 2nd of September 2008, SCP-278 escaped confinement when SCP breached its own containment, disabling the facility in England. During the night, SCP-278 had traveled to Liverpool, where it was found, poised vertically upside down on the side of a building known as Concourse House. SCP personnel posing as the theatrical group introduced SCP-278 to citizens as La Princesse, the showcase of a theatrical production.
SCP-2058. Object Class: Safe. SCP-2058 is a bipedal humanoid robot 2.7 meters tall, weighing 424 kilograms, constructed from high-strength polymer, impregnated with carbon nanotubes and interlaced with reinforced fibers and epoxy. Speakers beneath its face produce a heavily distorted voice. SCP-2058 contains a retractable chest cavity containing a bowl-shaped opening 11 centimeters in diameter. It autonomously seeks out small objects and places them into the opening. When the chest cavity is pressed back into place, a sheath of galvanized steel comes down over the bowl, at which point the object vanishes. When SCP-2058 is given a GPS tracking device to place within its chest cavity, the device continues to transmit, but upon SCP-2058's departure, the device's signal did not change location, and it has to date continued transmitting from the point of disappearance. The means by which SCP-2058 disposes of objects placed within its chest cavity cannot be determined. With the exception of the steel sheath coming down around the object, there appears to be no activity taking place within the chest cavity. Personnel who have examined the cavity report nothing to indicate that objects are in any way transported or incinerated or pulverized, although 4 individuals have reported a brief sensation of warmth and numbness when touching the interior of SCP-2058. SCP-2058 has shown a tendency to steal objects discreetly. When confronted, SCP-2058 denies the theft or attempted theft, demonstrating a clear attempt at subterfuge. Regular inspections of SCP-2058's containment chambers have recovered several items stolen from personnel. In one instance, SCP-2058 was observed placing several metallic objects including jewelry, nails, electric tape, credit cards, and bullet shell casings into its chest cavity. In this instance, none of the stolen items were recovered. Additionally, SCP-2058 offers life advice in the form of incoherent, often belligerent or criminal suggestions in exchange for U.S. quarters or any small metallic object. Content of these suggestions often involves sensitive information related to Foundation personnel it has come in contact with. Advice delivered in this fashion becomes more personalized with each suggestion offered, indicating SCP-2058 gauges the reaction of the individual and adjusts further responses as a result. SCP-2058 is kept locked in Containment Chamber 44 when not in use. SCP-2058 is not allowed to wander the complex on its own and may be physically restrained if not compliant. Containment Chamber is kept empty and is not allowed to hoard items of any kind, as subject to tendency to acquire objects independently. SCP-2058 was discovered in a reinforced shipping container 22.54 kilometers off the coast of Washington. The containment was heavily degraded and polyps beginning to cover the exposed surface. The remaining of a logo are visible on one end with the name Stuff and Something Incorporated. The container showed no signs of having been opened, nor were the remains of any shipwreck found in the vicinity.
Do you have any information on SCP-682?
Have you tried ignoring SCP-682? Bullies often thrive on attention. Ignore them long enough, and they are eventually liable to stop.
Well, 682 goes through a lot of D-class.
Yeah, though he could.
Babies are cheap, fast, plentiful, and fun to make. Why not put them to use instead of wasting valuable full-grown Class D personnel? You are getting fat. You could lose some weight. Have you thought about removing your legs and replacing them with cybernetic prosthesis? Take it from me. They are fun.
Excuse me?
What do you know about this Stuff and Something Incorporated?
Stuff and Something Inc. is a fraudulent company, and I highly doubt many of the people working there even know their company's name.
Okay, we're done here.
Did you know you two could get a high likelihood of successfully embezzling Foundation funds for your own personal use if you feign a containment breach for me? It will allow for additional funding in containment. I only ask that I be given at least 4% of the proceeds in return.
Denied. This interview is over.
SCP-1167, Object Class, Euclid. SCP-1167 is an automaton approximately 20 centimeters tall consisting of a control unit attached to an articulated arm and a flat base. The subject's components are of unknown manufacture and utilize an advanced power source that is not required recharging at any point during containment. SCP-1167 was discovered by spelunkers and delivered to local authorities, who passed it on to Foundation personnel. Site-1167-1 has been established at the discovery location. SCP-1167 is capable of limited locomotion by pushing at the ground with the base of its arm to gradually propel the control unit forward, at which point it will adopt heading towards 23.56 south, 68.16 west, changing direction only to avoid obstacles. SCP-1167 is capable of synthesized speech, but does not respond to questions. It continually repeats the following messages in 124 languages, including 8 dead languages and 15 which have not been identified.
Broadcast alert. Recovery failed. Initiate retreat and seek reinforcements. Alert. Alert.
If a person nearby speaks approximately 5 full sentences of a specific language, SCP-1167 will use that language exclusively until the person leaves the immediate area. When placed on Site-1167-2, the location it was heading for, it scanned and revealed several anomalous objects. This included a mechanical hand with similar construction to SCP-1167 and a non-functioning control unit similar in design to itself. SCP-1167 and any related objects are stored in a chamber on site. Each one is kept in a locked case equipped with security camera. The site is staffed by 2 security personnel at all times, disguised as forest rangers. Exploration is temporarily suspended. Any anomalous material or items found at the site are studied and cleared by Dr. Stanton before being brought into contact with SCP-1167.
SCP-1063. Object Class: Euclid. SCP-1063 is a humanoid automaton which appears to be constructed entirely out of wood, with highly articulated joints made of wooden ball bearings of various sizes. It is 2 meters tall, 103 kilograms, and resembles a bearded Caucasian man. Its lower left arm does not terminate in a hand, but instead flattens and broadens to form an axe blade. Although this blade is made of wood, it is razor sharp and is almost metallic in its mechanical properties. When in ranged state, SCP-1063 is able to sever human heads or limbs in a single blow, and to chop through over 30 centimeters of granite with no damage to the blade. Its power source is unknown, as are the methods by which it's able to see, hear, and think. Radiograph, ultrasonic imaging all indicate that it is solid wood, with the exception of the aforementioned cosmetic accessories. SCP-1063 is not able to speak, but can write in several dialects of German as well as in French. Psychological examinations have revealed a generally affable personality, characterized by mood swings and overall low intelligence. SCP-1063 refers to itself as Friar von Schwarzwald, or Lord of the Black Forest, and has described itself as a genuine aristocrat, ennobled by the king himself. SCP-1063 has not been able to provide more specific information as to which king this was, but has expressed scorn at the suggestion that it was Wilhelm I of Prussia, describing him as an upstart and latecomer. These attitudes and other statements made by SCP-1063 indicate that it was created no later than the mid-19th century, which is in accordance with its style of clothing. SCP-1063 has stated that it has 2 purposes in existence. The first purpose is to protect the trees and other plant life of the Black Forest region of Germany at any cost. The second purpose is to protect Germany from English-speaking invaders. The SCP-1063 is kept in a habitat simulating a temperature-confined forest environment, bordered by 60-centimeter thick unpolished granite walls covered in live moss. SCP-1063 is highly reluctant to damage objects which are supporting live plants. All personnel who enter SCP-1063 containment for any purpose carry live potted plants in plain view. Guards carry flamethrowers as well as potted plants. It is forbidden to speak English within 30 meters of SCP-1063 containment, as SCP-1063 becomes hostile towards individuals whom it is heard speaking English. Vegetation and microfauna in SCP-1063's habitat are maintained according to Schedule 1063-N6. Climate in SCP-1063's habitat is maintained according to Schedule 1063-CX5. After each simulated rainfall, SCP-1063 is provided with a plain towel made of 100% natural, unbleached, undyed fibers, so that it may dry its non-water resistant components. SCP-1063 first came to the Foundation's attention as a result of a statistically anomalous number of missing persons reporting from the village of Roswald, Germany in 1945. Foundation personnel surveyed the region while disguised as a search party and were attacked by SCP-1063 when they began to prepare a campfire. The subject was quickly subdued and captured with no casualties.
SCP-1508. Object Class: Neutralized. SCP-1508 was a humanoid entity composed of cardboard, paper, and plastic. Its appearance was similar to that of a robot. It was fully autonomous and moved with a humanoid gait. The words Dr. Wondertainment 2003 had been printed on the back of its body in black ink. When unrestrained, SCP-1508 would attempt to assist the nearby human subject with any chores or menial activities being performed. SCP-1508 appeared to prefer working with the younger subjects although it did not work with them exclusively. Due to the composition of its body and the limited range of movements that it could perform, SCP-1508 spent up to 3 days attempting to perform the same task. Although SCP-1508 did not appear to require any form of nourishment, analysis of its movements during this period indicated that it could still experience symptoms of exhaustion, dehydration, and movements consistent with human subjects who had broken limbs or pulled muscles. If the subject was performing a menial non-physical activity, i.e. homework, SCP-1508 would sit with them, drawing or writing with crayon. Art and writings produced by SCP-1508 were usually crude and simplistic. When writing, SCP-1508 would suddenly seize and be unable to move, lasting for a period of 3 days. Analysis had shown that directly before these incidents, SCP-1508's writing had become dramatically more clear and drawings more recognizable. SCP-1508 was discovered on 18th of September 2003 from a suburban home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A child had obtained SCP-1508 through unknown means, and the parents had contacted the authorities. Foundation personnel intercepted it and suppressed reports of its effect. The child was unable to explain where he had obtained SCP-1508 and was administered a Class C amnestic with the other witnesses. On 17th of February 2006, SCP-1508 was noted to begin imitating maintenance personnel who had entered its containment chamber. Over the course of 2 hours, it swept the floors, washed the walls, then polished the security door interior. Security personnel restrained SCP-1508, and containment procedures have been modified to reflect this development. On the 25th of May 2006, personnel noted that SCP-1508 had not moved in over 128 hours. When researchers were dispatched to investigate, they found several notations written in crayon around SCP-1508, with the object itself being non-responsive. After testing confirmed the cessation of anomalous properties, SCP-1508 was reclassified as neutralized on 18th of July, 2006. SCP-3382. Object Class: Euclid. SCP-3382 is humanoid in appearance, with a height of 3.6 meters and a weight of 900 kilograms. It's able to speak English and speaks in a way almost similar to an old computer, making various noises as it attempts to find a response and then speaking in a low Russian accent. It seems to be docile unless provoked or attacked. SCP-3382 seems to respond very aggressively when members of level 4 or higher are insulted, attacked, or otherwise provoked, this being caused by a protection program within it, recognizing level 4 or higher as top priority members. Most cases have ended in the aggressor of the situation becoming either detained with injury or termination. On both of its arms are what appears to be a type of weaponry that the Foundation have yet to identify. When questioned about this, SCP-3382 claims that they are broken ever since it was first discovered by the Foundation. SCP-3382 seems to run on a charge. The life of said charge is about 6 days, after which it must be recharged at a charging station, which has been installed into the interior of its containment cell. It has seemed to obtain a respect for both the facility and the Foundation, and is willing to aid them in exchange that it be allowed to roam around on the surface with an escort. SCP-3382 is kept within a secure containment cell in a research sector. Due to the nature of it and the power it possesses, blast doors have been installed. A terminal has been placed in the adjacent room, and may only be accessed by level 3 or higher. The terminal is used to program new orders into the SCP. SCP-3382 is not let out of its containment unless given clearance by a level 3 or higher. The only valid reason is to help when the facility is under attack or a mass breach has occurred. When the SCP is let out, a level 3 or higher grants it orders, after which they must accompany it along with 3 other armed guards until all of its orders are carried out. Any experiments carried out take place with level 4 or higher nearby, as it seems it will respond to most commands given from them. SCP-3382 was first discovered outside of sight. Its left arm was seemingly ripped from its body at the time, its original armor being less than what it has currently equipped, consisting of only a flat metal plate over its chest and a dented metal helmet. It was retrieved by a mobile task force and brought on site. Good morning, SCP-3382.
Status.
Someone.
Say.
Hello.
Morning. I had a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Say.
Go ahead.
Do you know why you follow Foundation personnel's orders?
Say.
Searching. File found. I see you're keeping dangers at bay, and I wish to help.
And do you know anything about these dangers that we secure?
Say.
Some. Mostly of 6-8 to another large-scale threats.
What do you know about the large-scale threats? And how do you know about them?
Say.
I know if they were not so clear they could destroy many. I know because of the private military known as...
Thank you, 3382. Is your creator among...
Say.
Searching. Error. Data corrupted.
Do you know if there are any other instances of yourself?
Say.
Negative. I am the only one.
Do you know where this company is located at? Thank you. Let me backtrack a moment. You said this private military told you about various anomalous threats. Did they tell you of any anomalies that aren't currently contained on any Foundation locations?
Say.
Searching files. No files found.
Alright, that'll be all for now.
Hey, Retenzia. I tried making it a new arm. Are you still busy or are you done?
We're finished here for the time being. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and attach this to you, 3382.
File found. 2468.
What?
Uncontained dangerous anomaly found.
Mind telling us how you know about that?
Found by Yuri Prakovich. Attempted containment. Failed. Result of attempted capture led to being taken. Status of is unknown.
Alright, I'm gonna end this interview now and try and fix this arm. And maybe see the status of...
SCP-1675. Object Class: Safe. SCP-1675 is a digigrade bipedal automaton of unknown manufacture that is apparently capable of indefinite operation with no detectable external power source or need for fuel. SCP-1675 stands approximately 1 meter in height and appears to have been built for law enforcement or military application, and is equipped with high-strength armor plating capable of withstanding small arms fire, and 2 mountain machine guns fed from a hopper located on its back. Under normal circumstances, SCP-1675 is docile and harmless. Left to its own devices, it will wander its containment area listlessly and does not pose a danger to any personnel. SCP-1675 will non-violently resist attempts to deactivate or disassemble. It will otherwise not resist any attempts to inspect or observe it. Attempts to discern more about its internal configuration have not been successfully to date. Whenever SCP-1675 is exposed to a specimen of geese, it will become highly aggressive and attempt to kill the specimen by any means possible. SCP-1675 is a single-minded, efficient, and exhibits possible intelligence in its ability to operate tactically when need arises. Periodically, and while attacking such specimens, SCP-1675 will emit audible speech from a speaker located near its head, generally consisting of anti-avian propaganda in French. SCP-1675 has not responded to any attempts to communicate thus far. SCP-1675 is stored in a reinforced containment cell at Site-15. SCP-1675 is given 1 liter of 10W30 motor oil every 90 days, but otherwise does not require fuel or maintenance of any kind. Experimentation with SCP-1675 is only performed with prior written permission from at least 2 Level 3 senior researchers. Experimentation involving use of live ammunition requires additional permission from 1 Level 4 Site Director and prior notification of Site-15 security staff. Such experimentation is also performed in a separate armored testing chamber. SCP-1675 was discovered by rangers in Rogue National Forest. At time of discovery, SCP-1675 had killed over specimens over a 27-hectare area. SCP-1675 was recorded without incident by the responding Foundation containment team, and all witnesses were administered Class A amnestics.
SCP-2412. Object Class: Safe. SCP-2412 is a fully functional humanoid automaton that resembles an adult human female. SCP-2412 is composed of many complex clockwork and steam-powered systems, including but not limited to rotational systems made of clockwork with the functionality of joint rotation and limb movement in general, a large complex mass of clockwork systems in the cardial area of the chest that often emits dense clouds of steam, and lastly a steam-powered engine located on the rear side of SCP-2412, accompanied by a fuel gauge that currently reads 98%. This engine is believed to provide SCP-2412 with energy to function, but this cannot be proven, as no attempts to breach the engine to examine its insides have proven successful. SCP-2412 is capable of vocalization, and is able to speak all known languages, as well as some others. The object is also capable of basic motor skills, such as walking and using its hands as a means to take hold of objects. SCP-2412 is capable of answering, with extreme accuracy, any type of question. These include, but are not limited to, questions regarding the future, scientific theories currently unconfirmed or misunderstood, and laws of nature that are not currently understood. It is currently unknown where SCP-2412 gets its information, and when posed a question about this, it will respond with, "Warning, logic error." SCP-2412 is kept in a standard safe humanoid containment chamber, fitted with a 5-number keypad lock. The use of SCP-2412 is strictly disallowed outside of approved testing. If a researcher has the intent to ask SCP-2412 a question about the future, they must fill out application 2412-F70 and turn it into the site administrator. If said application is approved, one guard with a copy of the application is posted inside the containment chamber while the researcher is asking questions. SCP-2412 was discovered in an abandoned factory in South Carolina. The factory had been abandoned for at least 150 years, dating no further back than the year 1825.
Hello SCP-2412. We would like to ask some questions. Before we begin, do you have any questions?
No.
Alright then, let's get started. When were you made?
Year 1866.
How were you made?
Warning, logic error.
Why were you made?
Mankind fears evil. Mankind creates God. Mankind fears germs. Mankind creates antibodies. Mankind fears paranormal. Mankind creates foundation. Mankind fears unknown. Mankind creates me.
By whom were you made?
Creators: Elsa, Traverti, Tilgan, Kefalotu. These 4 men collaborated to create a machine that would answer questions about the outcome of the world.
Where were you made?
Country, American provinces of Germany. State, South Havel. City, Frederickstown.
Do you originate from our timeline?
No.
How did you get to our timeline?
Warning, logic error.
Where is the American provinces of Germany?
It is located in what you would call the United States of America, as well as small parts of southern Canada and northern Mexico.
When will your steam engine run out of fuel?
In years.
You said earlier about a war. What war was this, and which faction was victorious?
The war between Germany's colonies and Germany. Germany's colonies wanted to be independent. The German colonies came out victorious and created the American provinces of Germany.
Okay then, next question. Are you sapient?
Yes.
Are you capable of feeling emotions?
Yes.
Okay, what makes you happy?
Questions.
Lastly, what do you fear?
Loneliness.
SCP-2045, Object Class, Euclid. SCP-2045 is a sapient humanoid automaton which can generate blackstrap molasses from a flask-shaped protrusion on its back, and then control the motion of that molasses. It is 92 centimeters tall and made of wood, porcelain, cloth, silver, and iron, and responds to the name Jeffrey. It is capable of speech but is of low intelligence. Every Tuesday, SCP-2045 will generate 2 liters of blackstrap molasses from its flask and telekinetically direct the molasses into the bucket. In the absence of a calendar, SCP-2045 will decide, apparently at random, that a given day feels like Tuesday. This will also occur if personnel repeatedly misinform SCP-2045 as to when Tuesday occurs, in which case it'll attribute the misinformation to memory lapse or a simple error. SCP-2045 claims to have been made by a woman who it refers to only as Miss, and who it is unable to describe in useful terms. It claims to have resided in her home, and to have generated molasses for her on a weekly basis, until the day it was unable to find her. It continued generating molasses, and at which point it began to search for her, and to telekinetically carry the molasses with it, in the absence of a bucket. SCP-2045 will continue generating molasses until it decides that it has generated enough. SCP-2045 is contained within a standard humanoid class containment cell, with a calendar on the wall, indicating the days of the week, and an empty 2-liter bucket. Every Tuesday, SCP-2045 fills the bucket with blackstrap molasses. When the bucket is filled, one Class 3 operative enters its containment, approaches SCP-2045, and speaks the phrase, "That's enough molasses, Jeffrey, thank you." Personnel then remove the filled bucket and replace it with a fresh bucket. Contingent on SCP-2045's good behavior, and at their own discretion, personnel may then kiss SCP-2045 on its forehead. Due to the difficulties resulting from SCP-2045's apparent inability to comprehend that it now has an SCP designation rather than a name, personnel are authorized to address SCP-2045 as Jeffrey.
Hi, Doctor. Has Miss shown up yet?
No, Jeffrey, she hasn't.
Aw, well it's not Tuesday, so it's not molasses making time. But it's almost Tuesday, right? You just have to wait a little while, and then I can make molasses for you.
No, Jeffrey, that's not necessary. I'd like to ask you some questions about Miss, actually.
Oh, alright. Miss is very kind to me.
Yes, I'm sure she is. Could you tell me what she looked like?
She was big. Bigger than me.
And?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want more?
Yes, please. Whatever you can remember.
She could walk around. I remember she walked around a lot. Sometimes she'd be in one room, and sometimes she'd be in another room. And sometimes she'd walk from one room to another room. Sometimes she came to get the molasses from me, and sometimes I brought it to her while she was doing things.
I see. Jeffrey, could you maybe tell me about Mrs. Face?
Yes, she had one.
What?
She definitely had a face, yes, and hair, I remember that. Oh, and lips. Lips are for giving kisses when I'm good. Am I being good?
Yes, Jeffrey, you're being good. Can you tell me about Mrs. Hair? What color was it?
Hair has a color?
Yes, was it black, or white, or brown, or maybe yellow-orange?
I don't know. I didn't notice. I'm sorry. Am I being bad? I don't want to be bad.
No, Jeffrey, you're not being bad.
Can I have a kiss then?
When we're done with the questions. Alright.
Alright.
Good. Jeffrey, could you tell me what color Miss was?
I don't understand what you mean.
Her skin.
Oh, skin. Yes, she had skin. She absolutely had skin. I know that. And I couldn't see all of it all the time because she wore clothing. Clothes are important, right?
Yes, but I meant... Alright. You remember Dr. Mitchell's, who's here to talk to you the other day?
Yes, she's nice.
And do you remember what she looked like?
Yes.
Remember how her skin is light pink and my skin is slightly different, see?
It is? It is? Wow, I never noticed that.
Can you tell me if Mrs. Skin was like pink or dark brown or maybe another color?
I'm really, really sorry. I don't know. I really don't. Honest. I didn't know it was important. Eyes.
Eyes?
She had eyes. I remember now. Eyes are for looking. She had 2 of them. And they were on her face. Like yours. And they were white with little dots of color in them. Just like yours. I remember. I'm being good, yes?
SCP-2040. Object Class: Euclid. SCP-2040 is a humanoid robot composed primarily of iron, glass, and plastic. Its design is very simplistic, possessing an electronic system which is technologically inferior to modern equivalents. However, SCP-2040 exhibits functionality not possible with this structure. SCP-2040 possesses a complex AI that is almost indistinguishable from a human intelligence and a seemingly limitless power source that has not yet required any obvious refueling. When questioned, SCP-2040 claims that it is powered by nuclear energy and refuses to elaborate further. SCP-2040 also claims to be in possession of other anomalous abilities, such as an ion ray weapon and the ability to light jump between planets. SCP-2040 has so far been unwilling to demonstrate these abilities, claiming that using them without necessity violates its programming. SCP-2040 is also fluent in several languages both known and unknown, but seems to prefer talking in English. Often, SCP-2040 will repeat a phrase it refers to as its primary message and ask for a response. Though SCP-2040 is often overbearing in requesting a response, it has shown a willingness to wait indefinitely if told that a response is still being formulated. Special care must be taken to ensure that a response is not accidentally given. SCP-2040 usually refuses to communicate about topics other than its primary mission, but can be distracted when questioned about its journey to Earth or previous missions. In these cases, SCP-2040 will recite narratives about locations it has visited and creatures that it has encountered. These narratives are all structured in a similar fashion. Usually they begin with SCP-2040 landing on a planet and being hampered by some adversity. SCP-2040 must then overcome the obstacle to leave the planet and continue its mission. Though these narratives supposedly contain information about various alien species and civilizations, they do not contain any useful information about the origins of SCP-2040 or any context to its primary message. For a complete list of recorded narratives, please see Document 2040-B. SCP-2040 is kept in a modified human containment cell. The cell is designed to block wireless transmissions. Personnel interact with SCP-2040 at least once a day. Interactions focus on keeping SCP-2040 compliant. When speaking to SCP-2040, every interaction is prefaced with the words, "I am not responding to your primary message." If SCP-2040 attempts to breach containment, personnel repeat the following phrase until the situation is resolved. "We are formulating a response to your primary message." I'm not responding to your primary message. I will not respond to your primary message for the duration of this interaction. I would just like to ask you a few questions.
State your inquiries.
Can you explain your primary message? Tell us some information about who sent it.
To prevent a messenger from effecting a response, it is against protocol for a messenger to reveal classified information about a primary message and the primary message's senders. All inquiries must be addressed directly to the sender.
I see. In that case, can you tell us anything about yourself, such as how you are built and how you function.
I cannot explain my design or function. It is classified. However, it is publicly available information that I underwent upgrades specifically for this mission. I am now one of the few entities that can safely inhabit the restricted zone.
Restricted zone? Can you tell me more about this restricted zone?
My emotion circuits show surprise that you inquire that. However, my emotion circuits show surprise that you exist at all. With all the strict requirements, it was thought that life could not exist here until very recently. Outside the zone, the requirements for life are much less strict. Outside the zone, life is much more plentiful and varied. Your ignorance about the universe reminds me of the Addisoners which I encountered after crash landing on their home planet.
Tell me more about life outside the restricted zone.
To prevent a messenger from effecting a response, it is against protocol for a messenger to reveal classified information about a primary message and the primary message's senders. All inquiries must be addressed directly to the sender.
What? How is that related to your primary message?
To prevent a messenger from effecting a response, it is against protocol for a messenger to reveal classified information about a primary message and the primary message's senders. All inquiries must be addressed directly to the sender.
Fine. I thought we were finally getting somewhere. Suppose this interview is over.
Human, I have a statement to make.
Oh? What is that?
Please inform your leaders. Time passes differently in the restricted zone. Therefore, I am able to wait for a response. However, I cannot wait forever. We need your help.
SCP-2785, Object Class, Euclid. SCP-2785 is 1.2 meters tall and is fully capable of movement and speech. Its appearance varies from instance to instance. When not in the process of an SCP-2785-1 event, it has been reported to be polite to Foundation staff, often offering to help when it feels it is needed. SCP-2785-A is a set of 3 gears colored a light shade of green. It appears to be the source of SCP-2785's anomalous properties, apparently rotating itself using an unknown energy source to power it. Direct analysis is impossible, since it is always sealed within a chamber within SCP-2785, locked in a way not yet understood. Long-distance analysis has confirmed that it is made up entirely of organic material. Once a year on January 17th, starting at 0412, SCP-2785 will enter an SCP-2785-1 event. This event occurs in 4 stages. In the collection stage, it will move around and find suitable material in the general vicinity, while in this trance state, it will disregard personnel. These materials are usually various metals, types of rocks, strips of cloth, and more recently, electronic devices. In the construction stage, it will use said materials to construct the base frame of a similarly shaped automaton. It will often deploy various tools from within itself that has either been unable or unwilling to deploy outside of an SCP-2785-1 event. In the transfer stage, it will often take SCP-2785-A out of its chest cavity and put it into the automation. Approximately 8 seconds later, SCP-2785 will cease animation, and the automation will animate itself. For all intents and purposes, this new automation is now SCP-2785, as the previous instance of it has seized anomalous properties. In the finalization, it will transfer internal parts, such as gear systems and tools used in construction from the previous instance to itself. When it has reached 100% completion, it will resume its former behavior. The current instance of SCP-2785 is kept within a standard Euclid-class containment cell. It does not require sustenance, and no materials containing metal of any kind are allowed within its cell. The outer layer of its cell is lined with a layer of lead that is inspected bi-weekly for damages. SCP-2785 came to the Foundation's attention when the denizens of the village of reported a monstrosity made out of metal, stealing their belongings. It was captured by the Foundation and brought to Area Roget, where it remained until construction of Site 17 in 1963, when it was then moved there at the request of the project supervisor.
Привет, SCP-340. Я надеялся, что...
You do not have to speak my language. I am able to speak yours.
Oh, thank God. Could you please tell me how you learned to speak our language?
Your people speak it all the time. I decided it was easier for your people if I learned your language.
Okay. How are you, SCP-2785?
I am doing well today, my friend. I thank you for asking.
Well, it's my pleasure. Now, could you please give me some insight on why you undergo SCP-27851 events?
I'm sorry. I have not learned that term yet. Could you please describe it to me?
I believe you referred to it as Preobrazovanie.
Oh. Are you saying that you do not transform?
I beg your pardon?
3 cycles ago, I perceived you with slightly more orange skin than usual. I had assumed you had transformed.
No, that was just that wasn't a transformation.
I had assumed you had made yourself more orange in order to make yourself more attractive to your peers.
Are you saying that you undergo SCP-27851 events in order to become more attractive?
Unfortunately, I cannot feel love. I perform transformations to make myself better.
Well, could you please elaborate?
As you must know, I have had a lot of years. I lost count a long time ago. Though I've counted at least 7 tens. Now your people keep making new machines, and these machines are far better than I. For example, I have cars that can magically move you across land in little time. I am unable to compete with that. So I transform to make myself better. In that way, I can still service your people.
So you are compelled to service us?
It's what wanted me to do.
The man who created you?
Correct. Though I like to think of as my father. He made me so I could have a child, I believe, who could carry on his legacy. I feel like I owe it to him for bringing me into this world.
Are you referring to...
Yes. I find it sad that you to perish in that unfortunateness. You know, he could have survived if he knew what he was doing back then. I still continue to miss him.
Thank you, SCP-2785. It looks like we're going to have to wrap up. I'm afraid we're out of time. Do you have any final words?
Yes. I would like to thank you for your hospitality here. Without your people to assist, I might go insane.
SCP-629. Object Class: Safe. SCP-629 is a humanoid automaton, 1.7 meters tall and weighing 500 kilograms. SCP-629's body has been constructed out of ornate brass replications of human body parts. Its components require daily maintenance which only it can perform. The words Mr. Brass from Little Misters by Dr. Wondertainment have been embossed into SCP-629's back. The designation appears as 8 in document SCP-909-A. SCP-629 body has been constructed in such a way that every portion of it is removable and interchangeable. These parts can be removed without causing it any damage, although it expresses minor discomfort when these parts are being removed. Additionally, the parts have been removed can be reassembled into new areas. Testing has shown that the number of ways SCP-629 can be theoretically rearranged is approximately 73.4 billion different combinations. It is capable of controlling these new constructions on its body, but express extreme discomfort from these areas of its body. SCP-629 was recovered from a facility believed to have been controlled by the Church of the Broken God. It was recovered in a raid on this church property after reports of suspicious activity in the area were confirmed. It was located in the central antechamber as church members attempted to integrate it into several other objects. It is believed that SCP-629 was being held at this facility due to the church members believing it was a portion of their god. Interviews with SCP-629 have confirmed this. SCP-629 is contained in a standard humanoid containment cell. SCP-629 is only taken apart during routine testing. Once per day, SCP-629 is provided with materials it uses to maintain itself. As of current regulations on Misters, SCP-629 is contained in halls of Site.
Can you tell us more about how the church came to acquire you?
I was walking around downtown. Kind of a small city, but a good place to hide if it was someone like me. There'd been some rumors about me going around, and I was thinking about leaving. When one night, this figure approaches me in the alley.
What did he say?
He offered to take me to his church, where they would take me. At first, I was hesitant, but he insisted. It was the reason they wanted me there.
Where did this person take you to?
It was the same church or foundation picked me up from. They apparently thought I was some part of their god. So they gave me anything I asked for. I had safety and plenty of amenities to keep me occupied. For a while, it worked out just fine.
Then what happened?
It got boring being surrounded by all these people who constantly fawn and adore you and give you anything you want. So I told them it's time for me to move on.
You said previously that they had a negative reaction.
Yes, they were angry. They locked me in my room. I could hear them moving some heavy equipment from outside. Eventually they pulled me out and took me to the big altar they had at the center of the church.
It was at this point that they attempted to integrate you into the other objects.
Yes, it was awful, to be honest. They were just jamming everything they had. I think that if you guys hadn't shut up, they might have added more to me than I could handle.
I believe that will be all. Security, if you would...
Oh, wait. Just one more thing.
Yes?
Thank you.
SCP-1370, Object Class, Safe. SCP-1370 is a self-aware artificial being constructed from various electrical devices and tools. It stands approximately 1 meter in height and is capable of moving its articulated joints despite the lack of any power source or motors. SCP-1370 communicates in a voice via a speaker mounted in its chest. Its head is a voltmeter soldered upside down to a neck joint, giving the appearance of a friendly smile, but containing no active sensory devices. However, SCP-1370 will react to visual and audible stimuli, and its ability to do so is hampered when the head is covered or otherwise restrained. Its design appears to give more importance to aesthetic concern rather than function, as evidenced by a poor center of gravity that hampers its ability to balance and walk. It is therefore believed that SCP-1370 was created as an art object and later imbued with anomalous properties, rather than designed with those in mind. It can currently speak fluent American English, French, and Latin, and is capable of learning new languages. Other facets of its intellectual capacity have not been clearly outlined, as SCP-1370 is invariably hostile in all interactions with any being or object it interprets to be sapient. This includes, but is not limited to, animals, Foundation personnel, civilians, audio-visual equipment, and security cameras. If SCP-1370 encounters an object it believes to be sapient, it will attempt to engage the object in combat while introducing itself with a variety of elaborate titles which appear to be selected at random. Examples include Doombot 2000, Robo-Lord the Destructor, Prime Minister Sinister, and Darth Claw Killflex. SCP-1370 will often include variations to these titles based on responses it receives from personnel. Foundation staff have successfully introduced Patheticon the Garglemost and Pester Bot to its lexicon. SCP-1370 is locked in a fireproof glass display case stored in Gallery 27. The Ethics Committee recommends that any long-term storage case contain enough space for SCP-1370 to move freely. Level 2 personnel and higher may remove SCP-1370 from its case at their discretion, but will face disciplinary action for failing to secure it properly afterward. Many tests of SCP-1370's combat prowess have been run, each confirming that SCP-1370 lacks the physical aptitude to cause damage to any living being. A test was exposed on SCP-1370 to a common houseplant with a speaker hidden in the plant's pot. After SCP-1370 was provoked verbally, it attempted to fold and twist the leaves of the plant within its grasp before incapacitating itself.
Release me, insects! I am Doom Master 1370, Master of all Doom! I shall be the herald of your destruction! At last, I am unleashed upon this earth so deserving of destruction. All shall be rent within my pincers. All shall be trampled beneath my feet. I am Shivatron, despoiler of mirth.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Who dares? All souls will burn. You will feel the sharp sting of my wrath. Identify yourself so that I may sing damnation upon you as you die.
I am a split-leaf philodendron, a semi-woody shrub with large glossy leaves. These leaves can grow up to 3 foot long.
Your mockery spells your doom. I have arrived. You will be crushed betwixt my digits.
Did you enjoy the video? Why not click the bell icon and subscribe to see more content from us at Tats Talk Videos. And now let's see the creators of this video.